just wanted to have a quick check among the people who are already in the room. Who did not attend yesterday? Who is here for the first time today? Okay, have a look around, keep your hands up so we know who you are, we'll find you. Welcome to this program. I was actually laughing earlier when we said people are stuck in traffic. I'm based in Lagos. So in Lagos, when events start late and people don't show up, everybody says traffic, and that's because there's traffic. Now, Abuja, there's no traffic. So I don't know what's holding people back. But we're very happy to see you, and I have to say, between the moment when I sat down and now that I'm up on stage, the room is filling up. Yesterday, the house was quite full, and for those who were there yesterday or here yesterday, you know that I really appreciated the level of attendance at the end of the day, because until the end of the program, we had a full house, we had quality contributions and discussions, and I think this is what characterizes this event. That we have the right people in the room, the right speakers in our panels and in our presentations. And I think the biggest value we get out of these 2 days is the network. So meeting new contacts, reconnecting with old partners that you may have lost sight of, especially during the COVID times. Just for a bit of framing, so as introduced, my name is Kat. I'm the delegate of German Industry and Commerce here in Nigeria, usually based at Lagos, as mentioned, but we do have an office here in Abuja that is being led by Olayinka Makinwa. Yinka, who most of you have been in touch with, is our head of Competence Center Agribusiness, and together with our Competence Center Skills Development, they are the brainchilds behind this conference. So if you're already awake, maybe we can give them a round of applause for the event that they've put together. We heard a summary from Akin Soya, our excellent MC, about the program that was running yesterday. If you have a look at today's program, you realize that a lot of the activities today focus on CASHEW, even though they're not limited to CASHEW. That is because this is a sector with a lot of activities already here in Nigeria, and we will launch a few more activities in the course of today. Among them, the CASHEW Roundtable, but you will also see the launch of a new partnership between various organizations. So I really invite you to stay here, follow the program, connect with those partners, and stay tuned for what we have prepared in the cashew sector and for the cashew sector here in Nigeria. Like yesterday, though, we will also look at the opportunities and challenges of international trade in the agribusiness space. Just like yesterday, this will be towards the end of the program, because we will build on all the conversations in the morning, all the opportunities, challenges, maybe gaps that we have identified, to then say, what does it mean also for international trade, import and export in the agribusiness space, which is not an easy topic, as all of you know. So I think it's a packed program. It's exciting. We have very practical examples to discuss in the morning before we then decide how to move forward. When you look at the program and you see the welcome address, of course, there's myself, but there's also Cécile Tassin-Pelzer, the head of cooperation at the EU delegation. For those who are here for the first time today, unfortunately, you missed her contribution because she joined us yesterday. But if you want to get in touch, then please reach out to the organizers so we can help you out, as you won't be able to meet her personally today. I'm not sure if there's anybody here representing the EU delegation today. No, not yet. But as I said, if you're looking to reach out, don't hesitate to contact me or Yinka or any of the team, and we'll be able to help you out. I do want to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Patrick O. Adebola, the Executive Director of the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria. Could you raise your hand again so people know who you are? Again, for those who were here yesterday, you know that the Cocoa Research Institute has already been ably represented in our conversations yesterday. Thank you very much for those contributions. So yes, after the keynotes, as I said, we'll have practical examples. We'll dive right into the discussion. And I hope that the conversations are as intense and active as yesterday, both in the contributions as in what can be done, but also in the contributions about what we're missing out on, because that is very important to not shy away from those conversations as we're building new partnerships and new programs going forward. You've seen that our exhibition is on again today. If you haven't seen the exhibition yet, feel free to have a look at the products, at the solutions that are being presented just outside behind the coffee area. Try some of the products, buy some of the products, and get the contacts of the people that are exhibiting. We also invite you to follow our social media channels for the Delegation of German Industry and Commerce. On all the platform, we can usually be found as AHK Nigeria, AHK as in our logo, which is the German abbreviation for the delegation, so don't worry too much about it, but AHK Nigeria on all the social media platforms. You can see that we posted a lot from yesterday. We will continue to do that today. We invite you to follow us, but also tell your friends, tag who's in the picture, share the information, post your own content, and please tag us so that we really maximize the visibility of the content that we're presenting here yesterday and today. And of course, we're happy to help you as well reach out to more partners. Last but not least, this conference would not happen without very strong support by very important partners of ours. First and foremost, GIZ through the VET Toolbox, a program that is co-funded by the European Union. They're co-organizers of this conference, and without them, we would not be here today. We also have other GIZ programs that contribute, especially the CASHEW activities are supported by a program that is called Business Scouts for Development, a GIZ program that spans various locations around the world. Yinka Makinwa, who we mentioned, the head of our Competence Center Agribusiness, is actually a so-called Business Scout for Development, meaning that her position is co-funded by GIZ. So her work, but also the CASHEW activities that we're about to launch today, would not happen without the support by the Business Scouts for Development program by GIZ. We have other partners as well that make this conference happen. We've had a colleague from PowerWet already give feedback on yesterday. PowerWet, a key partner to this conference yesterday and today, also made very important contributions yesterday in a keynote. Then we have the Pro-Cashew West Africa project. Again, it's all about cashew today. If you feel left out because you're not into cashew, don't worry, because the conversations will hit across the value chains, the agricultural value chains that we're looking at here in Nigeria. So a lot of the lessons learned and a lot of the input must be transferred across those topics. So thanks to Pro-Cashew. Then we have Big Dutchman, a private company that is working in poultry and pig farming. We have Jet Setter with their little booth just outside the door. We have NASCO, also presented yesterday and present again today. So if you haven't met NASCO yet, then please go and say hi. Casanovas with products that are in your conference bag, as well as NASCO, by the way. Nivea, a company called Bayersdorf, but known by the Nivea products. You should also benefit from their program products. And we have Colmart also supporting us with hand sanitizers and other products. If you want to reach out to any of those sponsors and partners and you don't know where to find them, again, talk to me, talk to Yinka, talk to any of the organizers, and we'll make sure you get in touch. With this introduction, I think I'll hand over back to Akin Soya, who has led a fantastic program yesterday and wants to get the mic back, but maybe it's a good moment to appreciate his support once more.
Thank you very much. You're way too kind, Katharina Fagenhaar. Can we hear it for her, please? I think that was a very, very warm welcome address that should enthuse us for what we're about to witness through the day. So without further ado, I'm just going to invite up our very first keynote speaker for the day in the person of, or represented, he's represented, but it's Dr. Ernest Afolabi Umakihe, who is the Permanent Secretary at the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and he's represented by Mr. M.T. Usman. So if Mr. Usman could please come up and please represent the Permanent Secretary with a very warm round of applause for him. Thank you, sir. And I know we're a little bit delayed, so we're sorry to have kept you. Apologies. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, all, ladies and gentlemen. Like what I was introduced, my name is M.T. Usman. I handle the CASHEW Dex value chain of the ministry. I'm here to present Dr. Ernest Afolabi-Omahihe, our Permanent Secretary. I go ahead to read his keynote address as follows. All protocols observed. I'm highly delighted and honored to be invited here today to address all this important assembly on the occasion of the launch of Agricultural, Technical, Vocational, Education and Training (ADVET) conference holding today, Wednesday, 2nd February 2022, here in Abuja. I'm also particularly pleased by the ideals of GIZ Skills Development for Youth Employment program in collaboration with the delegation of German Industry and Commerce in Nigeria, which has given birth to this important agricultural, technical, vocational, education and training ADVET in Nigeria. This collaboration, I am made to understand, primarily focuses on agricultural value chain approach and development of National Occupational Standard, NOS, which does not currently exist in Nigeria, and it is aimed at bridging the skill gap in the agricultural value chain development and the cashew subsector in particular. You will agree with me that Nigeria has a youthful population growing at a very rapid rate of about 2.7%, and youth unemployment is also growing at a similar rate. Growth in food production is, however, not in pace with the growing population, and if actions are not taken, the problem of food insecurity and safety in the country may become critical. NOS will serve as a job creation mechanism and employment generation tool for our teeming youth and women. The cashew value chain is among being promoted under the ministry's value chain program. The ministry has carried out a number of activities over the years to promote the growth of the value chain in the country. This includes the distribution of improved seeds and seedlings to cashew free of charge. And I'm delighted to mention that CRIN is in the forefront of doing that for the ministry. Establishment of cashew cottage industries in some states, particularly cashew producing states, distribution of agrochemical growth enhancers, carbon-free jute bags, nut bags, knapsack sprayers, water pump, capacity building training of farmers, sensitization exercises, stakeholders meeting, etc., etc. As a result of the above activities by the federal ministry, jobs were created along the value chain, income of farmers improved, and our country's foreign exchange and also improved. At the end of 2021, cashew nuts exported from Nigeria is estimated at about 250 million, accounting for about 10% of the country's agricultural export. And cashew export is expected to fetch Nigerian farmers about $500 million US dollars by 2022. Sorry, the other figures was 250 million US dollars, not 250 million naira. I'm sorry. Distinguished participants, it is important to note, however, that one of the major constraints of the industry in Nigeria, of the cashew industry in Nigeria, is skill gap, technological know-how on processing, inadequate processing capacity of our process plants and equipment, Out of the 170 metric tons of cashew produced in Nigeria, only 5% is being processed, while raw cashew nuts are sold to cashew buying agents for export. And cashew apple are eaten raw and the rest are wasted because of inadequate facilities to process. This means exporting Nigerian jobs to other countries. This trend must therefore stop, and the only way to stop this is bridging the skill gap, increasing the processing capacity of the Nigerian cashew industry, harnessing capacities of other cashew derivatives, which has the capacity of creating about 500,000 jobs for our youth and women in the rural and urban areas. Ladies and gentlemen, agriculture development should not be left for the government alone if we intend to move the cashew industry forward. There is therefore the need for relevant technical stakeholders outside the government. All hands must therefore be on deck towards technology transfer and skill acquisition to the cashew subsector, especially by development partners like the GIS. At this juncture, I must commend the GIS for this giant stride, aimed at injecting about 4.1 million trained youth and women into the Nigerian agriculture sector. What the ministry is doing is to ensure food security in the country, but we also gainfully employ our increasing population, hence coping youth restlessness and insecurity in Nigeria. I therefore urge you to continue to drive your strategic policy focus to connect key non-policy actors along the agricultural value chain to policy makers and to facilitate inter-policy makers interaction for job creation and food security in Nigeria. I have pursued the program of this event, and it is therefore important for this assembly to strive and tinker with the major issues that must be addressed to ensure technology transfer, bridge the skill gap, and development of the Nigerian cashew value chain to create jobs for the youth and women. I therefore wish to thank the GIS Skills Development for Youth Development Secretariat for launching the Cashew Round Table under the Agricultural, Technical, Vocational Education and Training. I enjoy all present in this great assembly to take this meeting seriously and participate actively. I wish you all a fruitful deliberation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. M.T. Usman. Please let's hear it for him. I think the message from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is clear. There is support for this activity. There is a willingness to engage, and there's a recognition of the importance of the private sector and the potential outcomes if we get this partnership going very well. So ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, representing Dr. Ernest Uhahihe of the Ministry of Agriculture, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. M.T. Usman, please let's again applaud a great presentation, well delivered. Thank you. So, we did promise that the day would be very rich in terms of knowledge, and we've reached out to the very top in terms of those who have spent time, effort, energy, and invested in the sector. And our next keynote is going to be delivered by the Executive Director, Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, CRIN, and that is none other than the person of Dr. Patrick O. Adebola. Please welcome Dr. Adebola. Come and give us the second keynote. Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am really delighted to be here to give a keynote address on the occasion of this Agricultural, Technical and Vocational Education and Training Conference for 2022. My name is Patrick Adebola, the Executive Director of Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria. Next slide, please. Just all protocols observed. I also want to specially recognize the presence of the representative of my permanent secretary, Mr. Osman. You are welcome. Thank you very much. Next slide. Ab initio in Nigeria, cashew nut production started around 1950s, and the plantations were introduced in these states of the Federation, in Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Oyo, and Osun State. And why? Just because we want to use the cashew trees for the purpose of controlling erosion and also protecting our soils, not for commercial exploitation. So commercial exploitation began around 1970s and 80s. That is when the Indian states started increasing their processing capacity of cashew. So they went around the world to source for raw cashew nuts. And that is when Nigeria started exploiting cashew production commercially. But now, cashew is grown by smallholder farmers in almost all the agroecological zones in Nigeria. And this supplements the incomes of many thousands of farmers across several states. It is estimated that about 150,000 individuals are actively involved in the cashew sector in Nigeria. These are the states that are actively producing cashew. And we have only major two varieties, the Brazilian varieties and the local varieties. And we also know that women play a vital role in the whole process, from cashew harvesting to labor-intensive process of nut picking. For now, there are a lot of different estimates of cashew. You are too fast. Please just be patient. Estimated area under plantation in Nigeria is about 200,000 to 375,000 hectares for now. But these figures also varies because we have different sources of information in terms of the hectarage covered by cashew production in Nigeria. This also attests to the fact that we don't have genuine statistics in terms of our cashew sector in Nigeria. Production is also estimated about 200,000 to 245,000 tons of raw cashew nuts per annum. The permanent secretary just mentioned that it's about 170,000 tons per annum. So the area of the statistics in this cashew sector also needs to be worked on. We don't have accurate figures of what we produce or the number of how large the hectarage is. Next. So we see out of all these, 90% of them are being exported and only less than 10% are processed locally. Like the permanent secretary have just mentioned, which means we are exporting our jobs to other countries. So there is need to increase the local processing capacity. Next. And if you look at the global projected amount of cashew market in the world, it's about 14.7 billion, which is estimated to be like that in 2024. But you can see the paltry sum of $25 to $35 million annually being enjoyed by Nigeria. I think we can do more than that. And that is one of the purposes that we are here for. Next. The runners, of course, these are major marketers: the USA, Vietnam, Russia, Germany, Italy, and different parts of Europe, and lately China. So we export a lot of raw cashew nuts to China. Yes. You see, this is one of the low part of this raw cashew nut exports. Nigeria is considered as one of the cheapest source of cashew nut, raw nuts. And why? Because it has to do with the issues of quality. Our cashew nut is priced 20 to 30% less than what they get from neighboring nations. And this is because of the issue of the quality. And I believe that this conference will help us to come up with how this trend can be reversed. Next. Yeah, next, please. Cashew is regarded as a high-value commodity being emphasized by the federal government of Nigeria, and primarily because it offers significant significant potential for value addition and increasing income for a large number of people. I've just mentioned that about 155,000 individuals are known to be actively involved in cashew production and all the value chain. Next. The sector have been having a lot of problems. Some of them have been highlighted by the permanent secretary, but I just want to mention a few. We have problems associated with harvesting, drying and grading, and also which also discourage processing into kernel. When you process into kernel, you add more, you are adding value to it, and of course you get more money from it. But we have a lot of problems associated with this. Majority of our cashew nuts are also collected from plantations that have been neglected and even abandoned. And these plantations are usually called wild cashew plantations. Majority of the cashews we produce coming from there. So we have very few active plantations in Nigeria, and this is one of the problems of this is one of the reasons where we are getting very poor quality cashew raw nuts. We also have the problems of replanting. People are not replanting, they are not replacing all these old cashew plantations, and of course maybe because of the low incentive for quality and availability of this wild cashew, because the wild cashew are available freely. Maybe that is why we are hesitating in replanting our old cashew plantation. We don't want to invest in it. Next. And if this continue, the issue of exploiting the full potential of our cashew will not materialize. Because as time goes on, these wild cashew plantations are declining. They are already declining in yields and even the quality. So if all what we can do is to just harvest from this wild plantation without establishing new active plantations, then there is a problem. And if you look at the average yield of cashew, you can see the average yield per hectare of cashew nuts in Nigeria is just 450 to 500 kg per hectare. Can you compare that with the world average yield figure of 847 kg per hectare? This is almost half of the average yield figure. I think we can do something to this, ensure that we plant high-yielding varieties that will at least near about 847 kg per hectare. Currently, the land cultivated is about the hectareage in Nigeria is estimated as 400,000 hectares, which I believe the country can do better. We have cashew being produced in almost all the states of the Federation. 400,000 hectares is just too little, and I believe we can do more than that. Coming to my institute, the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, we were formerly a substation of WACRI, West African Research Institute, which had its headquarters in Tafo, Ghana, as at that time. But when we had independence, the Crane now became autonomous in 1964. Next, please. And CRIN is the only institute that has national mandates on cocoa, cashew, coffee, cola, and tea. So we have 5 mandate crops which we are actively working on. Cashew is one of our strong major crops that we worked on. We have a facility of about 70 hectares dedicated to cashew in Ochaja in Kogi State. So we have a lot of land there. We have a lot of germplasm, and I will enjoy anyone that wants to visit our plant, our substation in Ochaja. They are free to do that. Dr. Dele Adeni, is the officer in charge of our Ochaja plantation, Ochaja substation. So you are free to visit us there and see what we have. At the initial, when we started research on cashew in the 70s, we went around the country and even abroad, collected a lot of germplasm, which we have, which we planted in our substation. So it's good for you to visit our substation and see what type of materials that we have there. Apart from that, in Ochaja, we have 5 other substations that are located in the other geopolitical zones of the country. And we have Owena, which is in Ondo State. We have Ohomora in Edo State. We have a substation in Ibeku, that is in Abia State. We have in Ajaso in Cross River State, and Ochaja, I've mentioned it, in Kogi State, and also in Mambila, which is in Taraba State. These are areas where we have our substations and we have our scientists there, and they are ready to partner with anybody who wants to work on any of our mandate crops. So we are also free to visit those areas. We see our substations as technical support service centers where farmers can come with all sorts of problems. Our scientists are there and they are ready to provide solutions to all the problems we bring to them across the value chain of any of our mandate crops, not only cashew. Apart from the 6 substations, we also have what we call experimental stations that are also located where we have, for example, the one in Ukwenu is mainly for cashew. A lot of germplasm are planted there, and we're doing active research there. So there are other substations in Okondi, in Mayoselbe, we have in Kaba, and also in Onisheri. Next, please. We have said this. I think, So the Institute, what we really do, what are we really doing? The Institute, we are involved in producing planting materials, improved planting materials to farmers. And not only on cashew, we have on cocoa, on cola, coffee, and tea. And this is in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And we are really very grateful for the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Please convey my message to the Permanent Secretary and the Minister. We are really grateful for the funds you are providing to Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria to be able to produce these improved planting materials and distributing them to our farmers across the country. We also provide training, also in conjunction with Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. We've got a lot of support from the ministry in terms of training people across the value chain of not only cashew but other mandate crops of grain. So we are encouraging farmers to also join and register as cooperative society. That is one of the things we do in the Institute. We're also collaborating with a lot of other local and international bodies. For example, we are collaborating with the Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Last year, we were happy we got very, let me not say small money, but at least we got something from the Nigeria Export Promotion Council to establish what we call seed gardens of cashew in 2 states of the Federation. And this year, we are hoping that that proposal will execute it this year. We also collaborate with the Ministry of Agriculture in the different states, the ADPs. We also have collaboration with the Farmers Association across the value chain, not only in cashew but also in other crops. We also have international collaborators, like we have mentioned. Okay. Yes, next slide, please. So we have areas of difficulty. We have imported a lot. We have selection of a lot of materials, both local and international, that we put together in our substations. But we need support in terms of the genetic profiling of all these materials that we gather together. We want to know the true identity of these materials, and that we are looking forward to anybody who can collaborate, or any organization that can collaborate with us to do that. Recently, we are involved with the Pro Cashew also, and I'm very happy that we are moving into the mother tree selection from our collaboration. Mr. Ron Femi should be here. We are collaborating so much with the Pro Cashew. Next, please. So, apart from all these, we also identify some skill gaps in cashew. Skill gaps and knowledge. We see that cashew growers should knowledge deficiency in the quality of the raw cashew nuts. We need to take into consideration all these in our training curriculum. Next, knowledge gaps also exist in terms of soil fertility management in cashew farms. How many cashew farmers have even tested the quality of their soils? Talk less of having to do soil amelioration. So there is knowledge gap in that area. Knowledge gaps also exist in soil fertility management in cashew farms. And like I've said, many of the cashew farms do not have, many of the plantations have not been tested for the quality of their soils. Issues of pests and diseases are also there. Next, please. We also have knowledge gaps in acquisition of planting materials. Most of our farmers in Nigeria just go on self-acquisition. They just collect any cashew nuts and just replant. This is not going to give you the required yields that we desire. So there are also limitations in skills for vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is very important. If you want true to type, or at least close to true to type materials, the way to go is vegetative propagation. If you plant the seeds, it's possible that there will be segregation. If you look at the mother tree where you pick your apples, and when you plant them, when the seedlings grow up and start fruiting, it might not be the same replica of where you pick the nuts from, because there can be segregation. So the best way to get true to type is by going way of vegetative propagation. Most farmers just pick nuts from anywhere and plant, and that is what is contributing to very low yield that we are experiencing today in our cashew plantation. We also don't have good nursery facilities. Greenhouse, charger, and also in the head office in Ibadan. But there are no good nursery facilities around the country. And I think this gathering will look into this and see how we can have good nurseries around where the cashews are being produced in Nigeria. Also, growers are still very difficult to be convinced on spacing. This high density spacing is what people are used to, and it will not bring the desired yield figure. We have recommended spacing ranging from 7x7 to 9x9. The Boko Society of Nigeria recommends 9x9, depending on the variety. 9x9 will give you about 173 plants per hectare. That is what we are recommending, but that is not what is being practiced in the plantation. You can just see this high density planting will not give you the desired yield figure that you are looking for. So I'm optimistic that this meeting will be able to come up with measures to bridge the current knowledge and skill gaps in the cashew value chain. I'm also of the opinion that this meeting will develop robust structure to unify instructional materials that are currently in use by cashew farmers. And I'm also looking forward to seeing this gathering developing curriculum and centralized courses to strengthen and standardize advert in Nigeria. Here, I can assure you that the Research Institute of Nigeria is ready to collaborate with you to put this forward. And I hope there will be good plans for the follow-up actions, for recommendations that will come up from the panel discussions, the workshops, and presentation in this conference. Without a follow-up discussion, it will be difficult to achieve our aim. So thank you very much for listening. I rest my case.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, you're free. Thank you very much indeed. Please let's hear it again for Dr. Patrick Adebola, Executive Director, Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria. You rested your case and you rested it very well, I believe. I think the presentation you gave was thorough, it was comprehensive, and it's opened the door for further discussion, and as you said, action plans beyond there. So thank you very much indeed. We truly appreciate it. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've come to that time in the day where we now want to hear the reality, what's going on, as we say here, on ground. We're going to hear 3 presentations of experiences from the field. These are what bring reality to some of the theory that we've heard, some of the conceptions or misconceptions that we might have. And I would very much encourage you to focus very much on these presentations we're about to receive, and then also connect with the presenters, perhaps beyond the presentations themselves, so that you can get a real feel for what's actually going on. So, without further ado, I'm going to invite up to do the first presentation Mrs. Nunana Ado, who's from CASHEW Initiative, to please come and share with us her or their experiences from the field. And thank you for encouraging her to come up. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for the introduction. So this morning we are going to talk about our experiences with TVET in Ghana. We worked extensively on curriculum development in Ghana as a GIZ implemented project. And since we are talking about TVET here, we would like to share what we've done in Ghana with you. Let's move on straight into the presentation. So as mentioned, next slide please. So as mentioned, we are a GIZ implemented project, a regional program at that. We work in 6 countries, that's Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Mozambique, and then Sierra Leone. And we work along the entire value chain. The previous slide, please. We work along the entire value chain. That's from production through to sector organization. And as a program, we've existed since 2009 and ended last year, December. Now, during the course of, or the life of the project, we worked on improving the competitiveness of cashew in Africa. So with regards to production, we worked on increasing the productivity of farms, production in general, that's the quality and the quantity of raw cashew nuts produced, as well as the processing of raw cashew nuts or kernels and its byproducts, and that includes the apple and the shell. Then apart from working on production and processing, we also worked on building sustainable linkages between the value chain actors, as producers, processors, and then exporters or traders as well. And then on sector organization, we work to improve the, or to contribute to the formulation and implementation of policies that are helpful or favorable to the cashew sector in the 6 countries in which we intervene. Next slide, please. So throughout the 11 years of the program, we have achieved some, or we have made some remarkable achievements, and some of them are that we have trained over 720,000 smallholder farmers on good agricultural practices, and closely linked to that, we have been able to achieve 99% increase in yields across the 6 countries. Also linked to that is a 135% increase in total cashew production in the countries of intervention. Now, as a result of this, we have about 636,000 job equivalents or full-time job equivalents that have been created in the cashew sector. You can see the figures for yourself, but I would like to talk about the 911 that you see in the lower left corner of the slide. So we are a project that believes in capacity building, the power of capacity building, and so we work a lot on capacity building of value chain actors. One of our flagship programs is the Master Training Program, where we train cashew sector actors and persons wishing to go into or desirable of going into the cashew sector on technical topics in cashew and behavioral change topics as well. And through this Master Training Program, we've produced over 900 experts in 19 countries on the cashew crop. However, having done this and then other trainings that we've implemented, we decided it was time to institutionalize capacity building so that a wider group of people, a wider number of people had access to training on cashew and then also access to the knowledge that has been generated through research. And as the Executive Director of CRANE mentioned earlier, cashew is researched on by the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, which we are affiliated to. And as of now, it's the second institution leading in cashew research, second only to Tanzania. So if we have this amount of knowledge, we thought it's relevant to share this so that then it's not only some books or some research that we have on the shelf, but also this is disseminated to the farmers who would apply it and then increase productivity. Let's move on to the next slide. So to today's topic, we are going to be talking a lot about cashew today, so we want to share with you what we have done. It's definitely an emerging cash crop, and in Ghana currently is competing closely with cocoa, which is our major cash crop, and other tree crops as well that are raking in enormous revenue into the country. So currently it produces or it creates over 700,000 jobs in the countries in which we are present. And as we are discussing here, we can't overemphasize the importance of TVET to building capacities in the informal sector and also boosting productivity when it comes to the agri sector. And so, like I mentioned earlier, we believe a lot in capacity building. Hence, our investment in the development of curricula on cashew. Next slide, please. So we got funding from the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development to develop curriculum on cashew. Together with that, we also got funding from the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, that's SECO, in Ghana. And together with this funding, together with other institutions that I'll mention very soon, we decided to institutionalize capacity building to make the mode of knowledge transfer sustainable, and as I said, to promote wider access, to further build the competitiveness of cashew in the sub-region and beyond where possible, and to encourage more research on the crop. So by doing this, we believe that we'll build a vast pool of experts on the crop, because as you may well be aware, currently Africa produces 56% of the world's total cashew production. We export a lot of that anyway. So then it's only relevant, or it's only essential that we build capacities to further produce this crop and even invest in local processing. Next slide, please. So we developed a total of 6 curricula on cashew, and that's from the basic level through the intermediate level to the tertiary level. The basic levels are what you see on the screen as national proficiency 1 and 2 levels. When it comes to our traditional system of education, that's what we classify as primary education, all the way through to the JHS completion level. That's the junior high school completion level. Then intermediate to 4, where we have the national certificate 1 and 2 levels, which would be the equivalent of an SHS or senior high school dropout, through to one who has graduated the senior high school level as well. And then for the tertiary institutions, we developed curricula for higher national diploma and then Bachelor of Technology, which are equivalent to the traditional HND and then a bachelor's degree level. Now, the institutions that we worked with to make the curricula that we developed robust include the Commission for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, which has a mandate to oversee TVET or TVET-related issues in Ghana. We also work with the Ghana Skills Development Initiative, then competency-based training experts, CASHEW value chain actors, very key. That's from producers through processors to traders and exporters of the crop. We also engage university lecturers, research scientists from CRIG, that's Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, as well as the ministry that oversees issues related to cashew or tree crops in Ghana. That's the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and then subject experts. Currently, we have the Tree Crop Development Authority that is charged with overseeing development of the cashew sector, and at some point they were also involved in the development of the curriculum. All this was done to, enrich the content of what we developed and also make it acceptable by future program patrons and then persons that intervene in the sector. Now, this is the process that we followed. We did a gap analysis and a feasibility study to find out what existed on the ground, to find out whether this was necessary to develop a cashew curriculum, and to see where there are gaps that need to be filled, what should go into the content and all that. Then after we had done that, we engaged stakeholders to find out if our findings were true or if we were imagining things. Now, when we engaged them, they confirmed our findings from the study and even made input on what should go into the curriculum development. Then we had curriculum development workshops, which I'll delve a bit deeper into in the next minute. We validated what we found out, submitted to TVET for their feedback, and then incorporated that feedback into what we had developed, and then submitted the corrected versions to them for final approval. Once this was done, we trained trainers in the various institutions to now run or implement the programs.